Always nice to get the after lunch crowd in here. Just a quick note to Speaker Rayfield after his dig on the Oregon Senate. We're having his car towed. So before I share thoughts on the upcoming legislative session, I'd like to ask you all to stand up. If you're able, please stand up, stretch your legs. Thank you. You can remain standing for just a quick second. I just have two questions for you. This is a little kinesthetics. After Duncan puts all those cookies out there, you know you're going to go back for a second one. So the first question to all of you, if you were born outside of Oregon, would you please take your seat? If you were born somewhere else, can you sit down? Now, let me ask a second question. If either of your parents were born outside of Oregon, so if they were born somewhere else, can you please sit down? All right, the rest of you can sit down. Yeah. So I don't do this as some nativistic exercise. What I'm trying to show is that Oregon is an amazing place that attracts people from all over the country, all over the world. We have something special here, and it's our collective job to make sure that Oregon remains vibrant as we build opportunities and success for the next generations. But first, we need to pause and ask ourselves, what is our collective why? We need to think of the stories of who we are, of how we arrive here, and what it means to work together to build something for the future. Whenever I meet people, I like to ask them about their grandparents. So let me tell you a very, very short story about one of mine. Frederick Wagner, my grandfather. He was from an immigrant family. He grew up on a family farm. During the Great Depression, he built roads in rural Virginia along the Appalachian Trail for the Civilian Conservation Corps. After that, he moved to Los Angeles, where he worked at the Brown Derby restaurant, and he slung martinis for Ronald Reagan and for Jimmy Stewart. He met my grandmother at a bandstand. And then he actually was disabled. He lost most of his hearing because during World War II, he was a tail gunner on a B-17 that flew 30 missions over France and Germany. When he came back, he was able to leverage his skills and get a union job as a machinist. And with a modest pension and health care, he was able to raise a small family. When he retired, he was the groundskeeper at my father's local high school. And through his investment and his sacrifice, he was able to support a family. My dad became the first person in his family to attend a public university and then medical school. And years later, when my dad got a job as a doctor fighting cancer at Providence Hospital, just 4 miles down the road, I became an Oregonian at the age of 3. So whether or not you're born here, or you come here, you find yourself here, we all have stories like this, and it's our collective responsibility to work together to grow Oregon. Stories of grit, of service, of sacrifice and community and opportunity. It's a story of America, it's a story of Oregon, where people work hard to achieve launch velocity out of poverty and provide better life for themselves and their family. So my grandfather also had a responsible and responsive government that matched that effort. He had a job when times were hard. He had opportunity to defend our freedoms. He had health care and a pension, and he had an investment in workforce training and post-secondary education that led to careers for him and for his family. So as you go through today, and maybe it's over wonderful Tillamook ice cream, ask people about their story. What was it that brought their families to Oregon? Was it a job? Was it an opportunity for education for themselves or for their children? Was it the unsurpassed beauty? I think it's vital that we talk today when we're talking about issues that the legislature is confronting, that we talk about a collective vision on the key issues facing Oregon. We'll hear about housing and healthcare and mental health and addiction recovery services and public safety and climate change and critical infrastructure investments and reinvestment in post-secondary education and workforce training. These are public policy questions that we get the chance to work on in Salem, but we don't work on them in isolation. We work on them in partnership with you and with our communities. So finally, in the legislature, you can tell there's going to be some new people that you get an opportunity to work with. I'm relatively new, and we're witnessing a lot of change. New voices, new leaders. And it takes more effort, as we just heard from Speaker Rayfield, to embrace our differences and to challenge ourselves to find solutions that work for all of Oregonian. In the upcoming session, I will get the honor to serve as the Senate President. And I will work with everyone to bring senators together to work on tough issues. That means trusting our committee chairs in this process and our vice chairs and all of the members that represent you in the Oregon legislature from all parts of Oregon, all walks of life. There are more than 2 political parties as well. We must lead with equity as we do this work, but working together, we can make meaningful work that leads to transformational change in the lives of everyone across Oregon's communities. Great ideas aren't partisan. So finally, my grandmother would often say, there's always room for kindness. By giving ourselves just a little bit of grace, the ability to reach out for an open ear, and as you heard Speaker Rayfield say, it's an open door, we truly mean it. We hope to see you in Salem during the next legislative session. It's going to be tight quarters with construction, so schedule ahead. But please do come visit us, and please continue to share your ideas. We can do this if we work together. Thank you so much.